Roll call. Here.
Ross?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
DJ?
Here.
Ralph?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Okay, approval of the August 18th, 2025 special meeting minutes. Need a motion?
So moved.
Ross. Second.
Second.
Eric, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, DJ. Approval of August 18th, 2025 council of the whole meeting minutes. Need a motion?
Motion.
Eric, second.
Second.
Jay, all in favor? Opposed? Administrative reports, mayor's report. The only thing I wanted to bring up tonight is, this isn't something, looking to do right now, but just in the future as we grow. Wendy and I were talking about, we have the village administrator job. It's been out there for quite some time. The applicants we have don't have any water sewage experience. So we were looking into, and other places have done this, is combining the village administrator and our solicitor job. Be a full-time employee here. So in order to do that, I need to have Bill send a request to the AG's office to get an answer to that question. So before Bill would like to do that, he would like to get the okay from council.
I stayed at Holiday Inn Express. I could do it.
Well, this might be sounding like a silly question, but does the solicitor have water and sewage training? Are we going to send them to school for it, or?
No, but some attorneys, if they work in that field, if you get lucky enough to get one that works in that field, they'll know both.
Do we have an attorney in mind?
Not me.
Really, but
No, let me
we
explain.
just want to
The
answer question.
Ohio Attorney General has the power to issue opinions on points of law that are unclear. It's unclear to the mayor whether someone can serve as the solicitor and the village administrator. There's obviously drawbacks to doing that, namely the attorney-client privilege, the ability to act in dual roles kind of muddies the water. When are you acting as the administrator? When are you acting as the law director for the village? It's also an ethical question for any attorney that would take it on, because you have to be able to answer ethically. Can I do this role and still represent the village? You then have the problems of criminal prosecution for matters that you as the village administrator are responsible for or oversee. So there are a number of legal and ethical issues with combining the office. As you all know, you're not a charter community, you are a statutory village. The statutory village requires you to have a mayor, vice mayor, an administrator, law director, and what the mayor is seeking an opinion on or wants to seek an opinion on from the attorney general is, number one, can we combine the position? And if we do, is that okay? Regardless of what comes back from the attorney general, whomever you all choose to hire has to answer the ethical questions of, can I do both jobs? And separate those two such that, the village administrator is going to get a public records request. We have public records requests for John's information on a weekly, monthly basis. When is that person acting as attorney versus village administrator, such that all of their documents are subject to public records requests? And the list goes on, and you can't really think of everything. But it's just, the mayor is frustrated she's not been able to find anyone who can, that is applied for our village administrator position. And Wendy is filling in on a temporary basis, but we don't have someone to fill the position. And we're looking at, would that be easier if we combined so that the salary would be more attractive instead of a part-time position, be a full-time position? But you have a bunch of legal and ethical issues that I'm not sure the Attorney General will answer the questions as posed.
Yeah, they do have a choice, and if they choose not to.
They can
then-
choose not to answer it, and then it would be incumbent upon whomever you hire to answer the ethical questions and the legal questions. Can I serve in a dual role as administrator and as law director?
If they would come back and not want to answer the question, I would just kind of, okay, we're gonna figure out another way to do this. I'm just, we're not getting the applicants, and that's my concern.
It would be really, really hard to separate, like he was saying. when I first
Yeah, I mean, I
started.
talked to another attorney, and
So,
everybody has different opinions, let's just say that.
so it seems like the biggest issue is the fact that it's a part-time job. Is
The
that,
village administrator, yes.
Yeah, we haven't, we're looking at that too, whether it's time to make that full-time, that's why we didn't put part-time, full-time on there. Because we want to know what all this person can do, because we would like this village administrator to do grants, take some work off of Wendy, with plants and stuff, but we just haven't found that right person yet. And if we found the right person,
And the mayor and I have also discussed, you can always change your form of government to have a village manager. And the village manager would be a full-time position, obviously, and lessen the burdens on the mayor, because the village manager would be a 8 to 5, 9 to 5 person running the office, answering the questions, overseeing all the various departments. Generally, a village manager oversees a law director, oversees public service, oversees roads, oversees negotiations with developers, and does all the things that you would typically think of a village manager doing. And that's another potential route.
I'm not really looking for that. I'm in here. I don't have a problem with my duties. It's just the village administrator. I can't be a village administrator.
Right.
So it's not something that I'm wanting to take things off of me. There's nothing that I have a problem with handling. I'm in here every day pretty much. So, it's up to you guys. If you would want him to ask the question, fine. If you'd rather wait and make this, talk about the village administrator position in the CAL to discuss, salary, because we're going to have to obviously pay a lot more than what we did John Burns. Just give me some guidance.
I think all options should be on the table for us to consider, so I don't think, as long as it's not too far of a reach, we should at least get the opinion.
Okay.
Just so we know where we stand, and if there's other options that we need to look into, then we should go that direction. Whether it's a stone wall in that situation, or if it happens to be an option we decide to go down.
I do think we need to put this on the Cal too, though, because I think there is a big issue with separation.
Well, the attorney-client privilege is one that I think is going to be the most all of us.
Absolutely.
Bill just brought it up, and because he's an attorney, he immediately thought of it. I didn't.
Yeah.
If he gets a public records request, how does that work? Is he going to have 2 emails? Is only one of them? I don't know.
And if it's the issue of pay scale and full-time, it might be easier to fix that than it would be to jump through a lot of hoops. If we can pay the right amount to attract the right people, that might solve an issue.
We'll put it on the count and discuss it then. Okay. So just hold on.
Okay. So are we sending for the opinion or no? No.
The consensus is,
I think we should know whether it's ever a
So you want him to-
possibility.
Yeah.
Nancy, I'm not saying don't check. I'm just saying I want the
that's what I'm
ability to
saying.
discuss it in a Cal also.
Okay, that's fine. I'll put it on there.
Yeah, I think.
Can we do it simultaneously? Is it a possibility?
Oh, you can ask the Attorney General's opinion at any
It
time.
may take forever for
Yeah.
to get back on
Yeah.
the correct?
Yeah, depending on how busy they are.
Yeah.
And once again, it's a question of whether they will answer it, because some questions are,
They can choose if they want to answer it or not.
this is a professional responsibility question, that's for the attorney to decide. This is a malpractice question, this is for the attorney to decide. This is a conflict question, it's for the attorney to decide. But as a matter of statutory law, what I think we're asking is, can we, as a statutory village, combine the positions of administrator and law director?
All right, village solicitors report,
Other than what we just discussed, nothing.
police chief.
I'll have your all's monthly activities to you before the Cal meeting. The only thing I'm going to comment on is you all have two pieces of legislation tonight that affects the police department. One up being the structure change for the paid positions for a police sergeant, and also ordinance regarding the auxiliary position for the trainer for the police department. And I just encourage you all to support both of those pieces.
Yeah, and Chief and I spoke this week, the guys just did gun training today. And one of the officers is taking lead training. That's what you said it was.
Yes, he turned in to go take, basically it's first line supervisor training. I've had another officer we sent last year to that. And actually looking at it, I think I'm going to extend it to all the officers, even though not everybody's going to be a supervisor. At least it gives them an understanding of why supervisors do what they do. So that is something I'd like for all of them to go take.
We're looking at, some additional training. There's some report training out there that comes available. Have them take that. High-speed chase training, that's something Chief's looking into as well. So, yeah, we're just looking for more training for our officers. It's good.
Chief, on the trainer, that one can go to yet another reading. But this other one, the sergeant, we should probably waive that because we need to get that to keep the health and safety of everybody.
Yes, I would encourage on going forth with the emergency language, just because the sergeants are going to support the department as a whole, which keeps us operating good. Just the amount of stuff that's going on, the amount of officers that we're at, it's more than what just having your chief can keep an eye on everybody. So I'm targeting these positions are going to be second and third shift. I'm not looking at currently having a sergeant on day shift for us to look at each other and manage each other. So it's I'll basically be the supervisor on day shift. These guys will be up to them to run second and third shift and report to me. If there's any issues and if I have anything, go to them and then they relay it to the officers. So it's basically a rank structure for the department. We've had sergeants in the past. We just changed when the pay structure was done, it was done as salaried positions and the officers, nobody at that point had an interest in it. But that's why I encourage you doing the hourly position. That's what, I actually never heard of a department where your sergeant is salary. So.
And we only have one sergeant right now? Or did
We
you-
have no sergeants.
Not now, so we have to,
I'm your sergeant, I'm your detective, I'm the chief. So yeah, I've got to get that workload spread out a little bit.
So Chief, this goes through the emergency ordinance. How will it impact your current budget for this emergency supporting?
It's already budgeted for. Yeah, so it's already budgeted for those positions. And if you all do it as an emergency tonight and it's there, that don't mean I'm walking in tomorrow and go, okay, here's the two sergeants. It's going to be an in-house where we don't have the funds to bring in any more officers. So basically it's just going to be two officers. We'll move up to the sergeant role. So it's not going to increase the budget in that aspect. So it's not adding to our current numbers. It's just two officers moving into that position.
so this base salary here, how far off is that from what they're making now?
Well, I don't know what the base salary.
I think if I
It'll
remember
keep
correctly,
the hourly rate. I think the salaries, if I'm not mistaken, in the employee manual is broken down to what it would equivalent.
It's a 4-year progression.
Yeah.
I think it's 4%, if I remember correctly, from budget time this year, or when we did this, I think it's 4% from road officer to sergeant, and then 4% to chief. So if you take 4% off of
So
that, that's
they would go up 4% from where they're at now when they get
they get
promoted to chief.
4% more.
And then how much over top of the base salary do you project for the year? As far as overtime?
Overtime doesn't occur that often, and I believe Wendy is already, when Wendy does the payroll budgets and stuff, she does put a padding gap for all the positions, just in case you run into overtime, or let's say somebody doesn't use their personal leave, throughout the year if they choose to get paid out for that at the end of the year. So that is factored in. Our overtime budget, I think she adds about 10%. And I do not recall ever a time us hitting that. Now, there was years ago when we were super low on officers, when we were supposed to be at like 7 officers, and we were down to 4. Yeah, per officer, they were going over that, but where those positions were empty,
Right.
money was
There
there
was-
to support it.
So are you the one that's going to monitor their overtime to make sure it's not being abused?
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, I'm not gonna have them call me for an hour overtime. There's no need to look at that. But if it's something that's gonna be a couple hours, they will need to get in contact with me to explain what's going on. I can't sit here and tell you there will not be overtime.
I'm not
If
asking
they have
that,
an
but I'm saying-
emergency, but we don't have that many emergencies to keep you over.
I guess my concern is like if you see a pattern where now you have an officer pulling somebody over every night 5 minutes before their shift ends.
Yeah, and that does, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that don't occur. That was how people would get back in the day. Yeah, you went out, your shift was at 3 a.m. You did that stop at 2:30. But I've never ran into that with officers. Most of the time, they're pretty anxious to get out of here at their end of their shift because they have other things that they gotta do.
All right, thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
All right, village administrator report. One thing I have from John, the plan, is that they're continuing to do further testing on the new sewage plant, and as long as everything continues to go well, they will be live by Monday. That's all I have on that. Village engineers report.
Have just a few items I'd like to update you on. So the Foxfire subdivision, Foxfire did request a walkthrough on section 3.2. So John, utility superintendent, Mike, street superintendent, and our inspector, they'll perform that walkthrough, make sure the streets are in good condition, all the curb boxes are as they should be, take any notes of anything that's defective, give that to the developer, and they'll have to fix it before we return their performance bond. So they're in the process of doing that. Over at the industrial park, we still have Lot 5 actively under construction. Lot 5 is BJ's distribution site. We also have Lot 10. So Lot 10, Scannell's property, that is where we're wanting to build the storm sewer trunk line and the transfer basin that's located on the west side of 104 on the Amazon property. So step 1 was to construct the pipe under State Route 104. They're going to do a jack and bore so we don't close the road. They realized the gas line, Columbia's 12-inch gas main, was not where they thought. So they had to redesign, come up with a new plan. They submitted that to us Thursday of last week. We provided comments today. So I would anticipate seeing movement out there again. Miller Brothers, they are the contractor doing the pipe work. Also Chestnut Commons, the residential subdivision, was brought to our attention a few months ago. There's a stormwater issue, a lot of runoff coming from the neighbor's property into that western most pond. So we did evaluate existing drainage patterns. We looked at the original drainage report that was done in 2017. We came up with about 3 different potential options, solutions. We met with the village, presented that last week. So now we're putting together kind of a part 2 proposal where we will meet with the adjacent property owner, kind of go over our findings, offer our recommendations, suggestions, see what they're open to, what's amicable for them. Then we'll also meet with the HOA, make sure they know kind of our options, what we think would work best, get everyone on the same page, and then we can do a design, come up with that design and get the fix constructed. So that's just a bit of an update on Chestnut Commons. I think that's it. Any questions for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does Zoning administrator's not here tonight, fiscal officer's not here. Let's go down to legislative reports. Ralph,
Nothing.
Ross,
Not this time.
Sarah,
Nothing.
Eric,
Nothing.
Dustin,
Nothing.
Jay.
Nothing.
Let's go to committee reports. Park and Recreation Committee, we had our last farmer's market on Saturday. It was beautiful weather, it was a good time. Good to see everybody out supporting each other. Food truck, last one of the year, September 20th from 4 to 8 in the downtown area. October 4th is our Halloween event right out here. We'll have bounce houses, games, Halloween contests for all, including your fur babies. So that's October 4th, 12 to 2. And that's all I have on that. Land Use Committee,
Nothing right now.
where are we at with getting firms in here to talk to?
Well, trying to get them to come in when we need them to has been a stretch. And the one company, I never got any more of a proposal from them. So there's one gentleman that I've tried to schedule several times, and I've told him what works for us, and it doesn't work for him. So I'm sorry. I told him that he was going to have to come when it was a time good for us. And I've only had one other one that's interested. And
Are they wanting to come during the day? Is that what it
well,
is?
we asked him to come during the day,
Okay.
and he gave me a day that he said he was available, and then when I told him the time, he's like, "Yeah, that don't work." So we were wanting him to come. I believe we talked about it between 11 and noon. So it wasn't in the morning, it wasn't in the afternoon. We thought it would work, and just that didn't work. So I'm going to reach out to the other people and see that they just not want to do it, or just we have a ballpark to know where we're at. That's what we were searching for, to see what kind of monies this was going to cost.
Yeah.
I was given another name, and it was somebody that used to do stuff with P3, and I chatted with him, and then he got really busy and said he'd get back to me, when it calmed down, which should be in the fall. So that should be now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
So you gotta reach back out to him.
Yeah, I sent an email today. I'll call tomorrow and see if we can't get somebody in here.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, at least. So we can know if doing it ourselves is even, worth going towards, or is it going to be something that is going to be very expensive. So we just might as well go, like Bill was saying, having a full blown one done to have sitting on the shelf. So we just can't get anybody to put a dollar amount on paper. We have a range, from 25 to 525,000, but that didn't really help.
No. Okay. All right. Public comments, so we one signed up. We have 5 minutes. Council will not answer questions.
My name's Corey Wasmus. Did you call me? Sorry.
I haven't
Stuck in
yet.
my head. You said one. I figured it was me. Go ahead.
But- Okay, Corey, go
All right.
ahead.
I heard a ding ding, so my timer started. Mind if I approach you to give you a quick handout to the council members? This is, I'll tell you about it on that. There you go, Eric. Mr. Creo. Sorry, I skipped you. I'll email it to you. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you.
Mr. Holt. Okay, what I just handed you there was from a very large document. It's the Struckman Farms Traffic Impact Study. It's got some weight to it. It's over 50 pages. I spent I say this all the time, I'm a nerd. I get into this stuff. I'm sure everybody sitting here is the same way. This stuff is really interesting to me, but what I've handed you is a couple pages from this study, directly from the Struckman Farms Traffic Impact Study. These aren't my numbers. These are the developer's own engineers showing unmitigated traffic failures, level of service F. It doesn't take a genius to see what that stands for. It stands for failure. With the delays over 17 minutes per car. And you can see right here in that study, 7 new subdivision entrances proposed on Gibson Road. Now, this study directly affects all of our residents in the township, not just Scioto, Township, but Commercial Point. Neighborhoods like Foxfire, Scioto Crossing, Southern Point, Walker Point, everybody that relies on that intersection, 762 and 104. Let's talk about what this really means. Unmitigated means no improvements, no turn lanes, no turns, no new signals, no widening, just build it. Dump the traffic and walk away. That's what the study here shows. It also shows what improvements would look like. Mitigate. Mitigation means doing the fixes, adding those turn lanes, widening the pavement, putting in signals, and that's where the real costs come in. We're not talking about mowing or snow removal. We're talking about millions of dollars in construction and long-term upkeep. And if the developer isn't required to pay for it, no guarantees before annexation, that bill lands right on the backs of everybody in this room, right on the backs of the taxpayers, both township and village. Let's be clear about the risk for Commercial Point residents. Right now, the local income tax rate, I've been told it's not RETA, but everybody refers to it as RETA. It's the added income tax. And to y'all's advantage, thank you for lowering it, although I don't have to pay it, luckily yet, I guess, but it's at 0.75%. It used to be at 1%. Council has the power to raise that rate at any moment they like with just a vote and a stroke of a pen to 1%. No vote of the people. And if you adopt this agreement, I'm talking about a road service agreement, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that raising RETA will be on the table to pay for the plows, the salt, the repaving, and most of all, the widening and all the mitigation that it would take to handle this road. These 7 entrances on this massive massive neighborhood that we're talking about. Neighborhoods are good. It brings people want to live here. We want neighbors, but we're talking about massive multifamily apartments and everything comes along with it. And that's taxes is really what it comes down to. This is why residents are so concerned. Snow removal and mowing are a drop in the bucket. The real question is who's paying for the big ticket items. Unmitigated failure means our roads collapse. Mitigation means the bills come due. And without guarantees in writing from the developer, the people of Commercial Point and Scioto Township will be the ones holding the bag. So I just invite you to read this document. They paid for it. It didn't cost you anything. But it's very valuable. It shows exactly, this is professionals that did this, engineers, and it shows a major failure coming to our roads, especially Gibson roads. So appreciate your time.
Okay, no business items. We're going to move on to legislation. For first reading, ordinance 2025-08 is ordinance accepting the final plat of Foxfire subdivision phase 4, part 4. Title only. Ordinance 2025-09, an ordinance accepting the final plat of Foxfire subdivision phase 4, part 2. Title only. Ordinance number 2025-07, an ordinance to amend the compensation structure of the police sergeant position to an hourly status and declaring an emergency.
Discussion.
Sure.
In the ordinance under section 3, I really think we're going to make it impossible for people to use flex time if we have to use it in the same week that it would have been. Don't we pay every 2 weeks? So couldn't it be within the same pay period?
Wendy suggested she wanted it within that 7 days.
Well, the problem
I think she
is,
remembered that with
and
that.
that's going to put us possibly a day without a supervisor because he had to stay and do his job.
It's whatever you guys want to do. That was
Yeah, I
Wendy's
mean, I would
suggestion.
think
She's
that-
the one that
wouldn't you
has to
think
do with
that?
it.
As long as it's the same pay period, because I mean, the same 7 days.
I know what we're talking about.
So they're saying flex time, they have to use it in the same 7-day work week.
I will just say while you guys are discussing that, like I work in an office and that's always been the policy where I work too. Like if we have flex time, sometimes they don't even allow it, but if they do, they want it used within that same week.
Okay.
That's just how it works.
Bill, is there a law on that that has to be followed as far as pay structure goes?
So we do currently, I do a little bit of flex time now. So let's say if an officer, I forget what it was something last week, an officer stayed over a little bit. No, I'll tell you what it was Saturday. We had a cruiser that needed to go in for some maintenance that was done. So what I did was I had one of the officers, the shop opened up right at 7 and they said, if you get in the door at 7, we can get you ahead of everybody. So I pulled an officer from 8 to 4 and had him come in and work 7 to 3. So on occasion, I do a little bit of flex time here and there. The only thing I want to caution on is I don't want to say that's how we are definitely going to do this moving forward, because it could get into a situation. And even with this, we are going to have some shifts where there's not a supervisor around, because they're going to work 5 8-hour days. So you're going to have 2 days, on night shift and 2 days on second shift where they don't have a supervisor out for that shift. Again, I just want to be careful on the wording. I just don't want to get locked in where we say this is how it's going to be done, because we got locked in on wording before. It's back when we were really short on officers, and it got to where I could not work officers more. It was like part-time officers. They were locked in. It put us in a major bind where you had me and one other guy, we were in here working 60, 70 hours a week. Then we had the other one that was locked in. I forget what the wording was, at 24, I believe it was. So you had 2 people getting basically killed, whereas this other person, we could not use them beyond the 24. So that's the only thing I want to be cautious on it, is watch how we do the wording to where we do not lock ourselves into saying that this is how we're going to use flex time in lieu of.
Policy says you have to work 40 hours a week, so Wendy.
Yeah, so they would get their 40 in. But again, if we would get to rely on flex time, our weeks run Monday through Sunday. So let's say we had something come up and we had a sergeant that had to stay over like on a Friday or Saturday, then we're going into Sunday, and I'm like, well, I have to flex you, and then that's going to knock us down to, say, 1 officer. So that's the only thing I want caution on. I like having the ability to do some flex time, but I don't want to be locked into where we have to do the flex.
Well, I know the issue that Wendy talked about with this was tracking the flex time. She didn't want it to go too far to where she's trying to roll over from week to week and tracking who worked what.
I actually
This is what she just said, because the policy says 40 hours per week. If they work 48 hours in 1 week and 32 the next week, we have to change the policy.
So she's talking about like if we would work somebody 48, then have them. Yeah, I think we need to stay within the same pay week to do the flex time.
So you're fine with staying in the same week?
Yeah, long as it's,
Okay.
like I said, we're not locked into where we have to do it, is the only thing I'm worried about.
And I mean, if that becomes an issue to where you have to flex somebody, I mean, as chief, that would kind of be your position to plan accordingly for that.
Well, we try to plan, but we
That
can't
might be,
always.
but I guess what I'm saying is that might be you taking that spot as chief, if that's the only availability that we have.
If I can. Because I'll just be honest with you, on weekends, I'm tied up with a disabled family.
And then the other
So there's
question is,
no way I could come.
but you have the option to not flex them, right? You have the option to pay the overtime that we're trying to.
Right, that's what I'm saying, just don't lock where we have to do the flex. I like having the option. I think where that came up was we talked about flex time is usually within the same pay week, but then we talked about comp time. I think that's what she's worried about, is bringing a comp bank in, because we don't have the means to, a lot of places have a comp bank. It's locked at like 40 or 80 hours, to where, let's say somebody worked 44 hours, instead of taking it in the 4 hours of overtime pay, they would get that put over into time they could take like a month down the road. I think that's what she was worried about, was getting into a comp bank of how we would keep track of the hours on doing that. Because I think just the way the system is, it doesn't have the ability to track comp bank hours.
Are all of our police officers salary or are they hourly?
I'm the only salary position.
You are the only person that's salary.
Yes, so most of your departments, I've worked for other departments, your admin staff would be salary. Your supervisors, which are sergeants, so they're not admin, they don't have the ability to control money, they don't have the ability to schedule and things like that, would be hourly positions. So it's, yeah, some places even have as high as lieutenants are hourly. It's kind of what you go with. But like I said, your sergeants are not an administrative position. They're kind of your front line. They're a supervisor, but they're a front line personnel.
Thank you.
We need a motion.
The readings?
Any other questions?
We've got a motion to waive the readings?
A motion,
Second.
Sarah to waive the readings,
A second.
second by Jay. Roll call.
Dustin,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Okay, motion to accept it.
Adopt. Second, first, amen.
Okay,
I'll
Ross,
second.
second by Dustin. Roll call.
Ross,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
Jay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank you guys. Okay, up for second reading is ordinance 2025-06, an ordinance to commission an auxiliary trainer for the Village of Commercial Point Police Department. There's no pending administration. Is there any additional business? Or additional business?
Yes, I do have. I just want to real quick speak to Mr. Wassmus. So if you look on your thing you gave us, it also says that currently there's an E and two Fs if there's nothing built. So it's not like you have to build to cause Fs there, because in the very first box, you have no build and there's an E and two Fs. And I just feel like the way you presented it was the only time it was going to have an F is if that was built. And that is not the case at State Route 104 and 762. And the second thing is, we always, I won't say always, from my knowledge, the developer has to fix all of the red, and if this was it, they have to fix all those before we allow them to come in. It would be idiotic and hypocritical for us not to, because they're the ones making the money, not us and not our taxpayers. So I did just want to clear things up that it's already failing if nothing's built. Yes, it does fail more if it's built, but it's not like it's a perfect situation that our decision-making is going to trash. It's a bad situation because of all of Pickaway County's growth. It's going to get worse even if this doesn't get built because of Andrew. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just putting it out there that there are already failing marks.
You want a quick
Okay.
response?
Is there-
Clarification? No?
So I do want to address that too, since we brought this up. He did bring up some very valid points.
Absolutely.
We're going to be putting all these houses in, all this traffic, the road's already crumbling. If we do this road agreement, we could be stuck fixing that road.
No.
We need to make it to where if that builder goes in, they're going to maintain that road for like 10 years until we start getting enough tax revenue in to afford it. Just like the same kind of thing that went on with the warehouses over there. There's no reason that we're going to put ourselves in a position with this road that we could be eating a lot of cost off of it. Huh?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
You know, so we need to be careful with this, just like Corey's saying, that when this deal comes to the table, we make sure that it benefits the village all the way around.
I think what's gonna have to happen is, there's gonna have to be a bond on the whole road or up to the annexation that the developer would have to maintain it for X amount of years.
Right, yeah,
So
until,
that way there's no cost for the village, there's no cost for the township. I mean, I think that's.
right, it
the
needs
way
to be
we're
a
gonna have
three-party
do it.
agreement.
Right,
But we agree that we will help maintain it if you meet these standards,
absolutely.
right? So let's say it takes 10 years for us to get our tax revenue in off of that development. They're gonna need to take care of that road until that point.
Yeah, because I think, Susan, what's the warehouse now? Is it 15 years? We have a bond on the warehouse.
And then before they move out,
Yeah.
they have to make that road like brand new again, don't they?
Correct, yeah, we basically do kind of like our maintenance walkthrough, and we look at the pavement, most likely we'll need a mill fill, maybe something more.
Right.
Look at the curbs, look at the drainage, all of that infrastructure, make sure it's still in good condition.
And did we do that with the developments too?
No, this, to my knowledge, it's just the industrial part, not the residential.
So that if we have the construction traffic beating up a road that we decided we're gonna take care of, we need to make sure that we have that clause in there, that when they're done building, it's like new.
Or the road's not dedicated until the construction's finished.
Right.
It doesn't become our.
Well, but if we go into that blanket agreement, do we assume that right away?
No, that's just that you'll provide snow removal.
And it wasn't like a blanket, we had it per road.
It's per agreement.
Yeah.
So it's per road
It's
agreement.
It's
Per
per
agreement,
agreement if the road is split
Yes,
between the township and the village.
and that's how the township wanted, they wanted to do it per road. So that's why I've got that blank line up there, because, so like, if, say, Gibson came about, this agreement would come, and there would be additional, wouldn't just be what's typed on it, there would be additional, it'd be like,
Right,
the
so we're not-
developer would be involved, and we would say, we want a bond on this road the part that is annexed.
Right, that way we're not tying our hands.
Absolutely, we're not tying the township hands. So that would be my stance on that. And they're the ones that are wanting to come here, so they
Let them
should
pay
pay
for
it.
it, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
After the last meeting, I was so lost by what Ross said. When he said, what about the letter we've always done? So I looked, and I mean, I don't understand, Bill, unless it's changed. Can't we just submit a letter with our services agreement to when we send that in, saying we agree to take over as long as this is annexed and it's done? We don't have to involve the township. We can just put a letter, and that takes care of that number 7, correct? If we just put a letter that says our intent is to take care of the expenses of bringing this road current and forever going through as long as that property's annexed.
Well, the issue that came up was it was a split road.
So would that not work in this situation? Just a letter saying our intent is,
In a split road, what the county commissioners were requiring, according to the feedback I got, was exactly the letter that the mayor put together.
Right. So Bill, just out of curiosity, who drafted this agreement with the township?
There's no agreement with the township.
Well, this proposal, who drafted that?
That proposal, the mayor drafted it and I reviewed it.
With feedback from the township.
So you guys.
Township added a couple lines.
Township added a couple lines, that's what was
So it was a
read.
joint between the two.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's why additional, it wouldn't just say that. That's why it
Right.
depends on what road you're on. You're gonna have different,
Different contingencies.
Yeah.
Right.
so it's just not that. But yeah, I would, I'm
The
for,
council will have the ability to approve of the
Yep.
letter each time it's attached
if
to
you wanna make
legislation.
changes.
Okay.
Yep,
And the letter only involves any roadways that are split between two.
Any what they call shared roadways.
shared roadways, yes.
Correct. Otherwise, we're just putting our own conditions into the legislation.
Right. Okay.
so this is just a form that'll be filled out
Yes, sir.
per instance and sent with, so it's a letter that Ross said we used to handwrite pretty much, but we're just doing a form now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nothing.
All right.
Motion to
adjourn.
Motion.
Boy, everybody.
Ross made the motion, second.
Second.
No, I
Second
did.
by-
I
Oh,
made-
Eric, your voice sounds kind of alike.
I extended it, so all I did.
Second by Sarah. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Have a good night.